Welcome in. So, forget your history textbooks for a minute. If you really want to understand the last, say, 70 years or so, you just need to look at two things: the soundtrack and the uniform. Today, we're going to break down how pop music and fashion didn't just reflect youth culture, they pretty much built it, defining what it meant to be young decade after decade.
Exactly. I mean, for almost 70 years, music and what you wore were the loudest, clearest ways for young people to show who they were, to signal if you were a rebel or if you belonged to a certain group. So we're going to track that whole evolution and show how, everything from a poodle skirt to a pair of platform shoes was tied to whatever was playing on the radio.
All right, let's start at the very beginning then. The 1950s. This is really the birth of the teenager as we know it, and it all starts with pop music, specifically rock and roll. Before this, young people just kind of listened to what their parents listened to. There wasn't a separate culture.
Right. And that new sound was so revolutionary because it was simple and you could get it everywhere. Early rock and roll had these really catchy, danceable formulas. It was all about the electric guitar, bass, drums. It wasn't like the big orchestras your parents were listening to.
And radio stations just played it all day long. That created a massive audience almost overnight, and for the first time gave young people their own cultural space.
And a new soundtrack needs a new uniform, right? Before the 50s, kids just wore smaller versions of adult clothes. But after the war, the economy was better, teens actually had some money to spend, and designers finally started making clothes just for them.
That's the huge shift right there. So what did that first uniform look like? For boys, it was straight out of the movies, the kind of anti-hero look. We're talking denim jeans, leather jackets, that slick back hair. It was tough. It was a clear rejection of the suits their fathers wore.
And for girls, it was this really striking mix of innocent but also brand new. You had the super wide knee-length poodle skirts, the saddle shoes, and they were using new materials like nylon and these really bright, bold colors that just screamed, "We are a new generation." It was neat, but it was new.
Okay, so now we get to the 60s, and this is where it gets really interesting. It's not just about being new anymore. It's about powerful, coordinated change. And you have to start with the Beatles. They showed just how fast music and fashion could connect on a global scale.
Oh, absolutely.
Hmm.
When they first arrived, their look was so specific. They all wore these matching tailored suits. It was that whole mod look, very clean, very sharp, very modern. It was a statement against the scruffier rock and roll look that came before.
But the real shocker was their hair. That slightly longer hair, which seems so tame now, was seen as this wildly rebellious thing by older people, and millions of young guys all over the world started copying it immediately. Just that one thing shows you how a band could basically set the rules for how to look.
Yeah, but then in the same decade, everything flips. By the late 60s, you get the hippie movement, which was the total opposite of a tailored suit. This wasn't just a style, it was a political statement. It was anti-materialism.
Right, so they ditched all the sharp lines for comfort, loose-fitting clothes, natural fabrics, a total rejection of anything that looked expensive or mass-produced.
And the clothes were just loaded with symbols. The tie-dye shirts with their crazy bright patterns symbolized peace and a rejection of conformity. Bell-bottom trousers, of course, became iconic. But maybe the biggest statement was wearing secondhand clothes or even no shoes at all. It was a way of saying, we don't care about your consumer culture. We care about nature, about being free.
That divide just explodes in the 1970s. I mean, the decade just splits in two. On one side, you have the raw, angry energy of punk rock.
And punk was a direct reaction against all the polished, overproduced rock music at the time. The music was super fast, loud, aggressive, and the fashion was just as angry.
It was the ultimate do-it-yourself style. It wasn't about buying things. It was about destroying them and putting them back together. Ripped clothes held together with safety pins, leather jackets covered in metal studs.
Exactly. And the whole point was to look deliberately broken and maybe a little offensive. It was a visual rebellion against society.
Hmm.
And the brightly dyed hair, those unnatural pinks and greens, that was the final touch. It was pure defiance.
Okay, but at the exact same time as all that chaos, you have disco fever, which was the complete opposite. It was pure glamour and escapism.
For sure. If punk was yelling at the world, disco was inviting the world to a party. The music was made for one thing, dancing. It was slick and lush and a total contrast to punk's raw sound.
And the fashion was designed to sparkle under the disco ball. We're talking shiny polyester, sequins, anything that would catch the light.
Everything was about making a big visual impact. Women wore these incredibly high platform shoes to look taller on the dance floor. Men wore these tight suits, sometimes in bright colors, with huge collars and their shirts open. Disco fashion was all about turning your life into a performance.
So as we move into the 1980s, the vibe changes again. It becomes all about aspiration, success, fitness, and just being loud and proud.
And this is when music videos, especially with MTV, just take over. So fashion trends weren't just coming from your local town anymore. They were being broadcast to the entire world by pop stars.
And you see that athletic look move from the gym to the street. Suddenly you have people wearing things like leg warmers and headbands as everyday fashion.
And the colors, just neon everything, electric blue, hot pink, it was everywhere. Plus, the hair got huge, held up with tons of hairspray. The 80s look was about being visible, about showing off.
But that whole polished look at me aesthetic runs into a brick wall in the early 1990s with grunge. Grunge basically asked, what if trying hard is actually uncool?
Right, it was all about this idea of effortless authenticity. The music was heavy, slow, deliberately messy. It really mirrored the sort of anxieties of that generation.
And the fashion was a direct rejection of 80s gloss. Think ripped jeans that weren't designer, layered flannel shirts, messy hair. The whole message was, I don't care about being fancy.
And the footwear was often those heavy, practical work boots. The funny thing is, even though it started as this anti-fashion, anti-spending statement, it got picked up by high fashion almost immediately.
At the same time, you have the huge explosion of hip-hop and streetwear coming out of New York. This was also about comfort, but it tied that comfort directly to status.
The basics were baggy pants and oversized t-shirts for sure. But the really critical piece was the sneaker. Sneakers stopped being just shoes and became these huge status symbols. Having the right pair showed you were in the know.
Yeah, and rappers would wear heavy gold chains, specific baseball caps to show success. Brand names became incredibly important. Wearing a certain logo was like wearing a team jersey. It showed who you were and what group you belonged to. And now, I mean, that whole streetwear look completely dominates luxury fashion.
So as we get closer to today, the power of the music video just gets more and more intense. The visual brand of an artist became just as important as her voice, maybe even more so.
And that ability to show fashion to millions of people instantly just sped everything up. An artist could wear a unique hat in a video, and it would sell out online the next day.
The industry realized you needed the whole package. The high-quality video, the choreography, the specific costumes. Fans weren't just listening, they were buying into a whole lifestyle.
And now technology just completely runs the show. Social media means trends can spread across the globe in minutes, not seasons.
Which has led to this idea of micro-trends, styles that are popular for a few months and then just vanish because things move so fast. And technology also affects how clothes are made. Computers help design more sustainable fabrics, which is kind of a high-tech answer to what the hippies wanted back in the 60s.
And the result of all that speed is fast fashion. You see something in a video or on social media, you can buy a version of it online instantly. New styles are in stores faster than ever, which creates this constant pressure to keep up.
So after all this, what does it all mean for you? Well, fashion and music are still the quickest way to express yourself. Choosing a band or a brand still tells the world something about you and helps you find your people.
But we're way past the strict uniforms of the 50s. Today, there are really no rules. You're free to mix it all together. You can take the ripped jeans from punk, the shine from disco, the comfort of streetwear, and make something totally new.
Understanding this history just shows you that style is almost never an accident. Every choice is a kind of statement. It reflects whether you want to fit in with a group or maybe rebel against something entirely.
So here's the final thought to leave you with. If almost every major youth fashion movement, from the hippies to grunge, started as a statement against consumerism, why do those exact same styles now sell for thousands of dollars at luxury stores? Is being free just another thing to buy?
Something to think about next time you get dressed or press play.
See you next time.